Hey everybody, I'm Adrian Bustamante and welcome back to Food Deconstructed. This episode we are deconstructing some holiday favorites, and this next recipe is actually macaroni and cheese stuffed turkey meatballs. Now, of course, we're going to be using some ground turkey. At home, you can use other meats as you want, but I figured turkey was a good little twist on this recipe because who doesn't have turkey during the holidays? First thing we're going to do though, we're going to add our onions, garlic, sage, and parsley to our meat, but first we're going to saute it. Just get them a little bit softer. This way I don't have to cook it as long and worry about our meat drying out in the oven. Going to place our onions here, garlic here. Now you're not going to saute these too long. I just want to soften them up a little bit and get these flavors mixed in with the onion and the garlic as best I can. But they are going to cook a little bit in the oven as well, so I just want to make sure that all comes together too. So just going to mix it up, let this pan heat up a little bit and go from there. Now, quick little thing on the meat, like I said, you can use whatever meat you want at home, and if you want it to be a little bit healthier version of a meatball, you obviously maybe shouldn't add macaroni and cheese to the center of it, but you can also use leaner meat that you can find at the stores as well. Maybe like a 95-5, which is about 95% lean meat, 5% fat. Or you can do a mixture of meats as well if you want to add a little bit of twist on the flavor. You could do turkey with maybe a ground veal or a turkey with a ground beef, whatever works better for you and your family during the holidays. And as for the mac and cheese, what we've done is I actually made the mac and cheese last night. I wanted to make sure that I had enough time for it to set and cool so it was easy to scoop out and we can place it into our meatballs. You can make macaroni and cheese at home, which we did, just using elbow macaroni and obviously cheese, or you can buy it from the blue box at your grocery store. Whichever works better for you. They're both going to work just fine for this recipe, but we figured since most of the stuff during the holidays is homemade, might as well make a homemade macaroni and cheese. All right, those onions are done. So now let's just take our turkey, right here in our bowl, bring these out. Now, make sure, if you're going to be using your hands like me to mix all this up, that your onion mixture here is cooled off. So I did cook it with some olive oil, so you don't want to burn your hands. All right. Now we're also going to add an egg, as well as a few breadcrumbs in here to kind of add to like a little bit of a binding agent. We're also going to add some salt and pepper. All right, let's bring this together. Just like to use my hands and get in there and mix it all up. Now once these are all mixed up, what we're going to do is we're going to take pieces, and we're not going to ball them up right away because we want to add these macaroni and cheese to the center. So you'll notice there's some cellophane underneath this bowl. I'm going to take pieces, kind of spread them out a little bit thin, dab a little bit of macaroni in the middle, and then fold it back up. But I'll show you how to do that in 1 second. All right, that should be good. So now that that's done, we're going to take some meatball, I'm going to pat it down just a little bit so it gets nice and flat. Should be good enough. Just throw it down on the cellophane. The cellophane's there to make sure it just doesn't stick as easy. All right, that's there. Now I'm going to take the back side of this metal spoon, just flatten it out just a little bit more. Should be good. I'm going to take my ice cream scoop and go out my macaroni. It just makes it easier in regards to making sure that that same size ball of macaroni is in the middle. We're going to use a smaller scoop because the same thing whenever you're baking something or putting something that has a kind of a filling in the oven. We don't want too much of the cheese to explode out and expand. So should be good enough. And then from there, we will start to roll this meatball back up. It should just be able to enclose and encase that little ball of macaroni. You can just give it a quick little roll with your hands. Don't press down too much, but kind of pressing just enough to make sure this holds together quite well for you. And if you kind of see some of the macaroni popping out, don't be scared to take a little bit more of the turkey. Just pat it around the edge. It's going to be a little bit bigger meatball than you may be used to. I usually go a little bit smaller than that, but it's about the size. This way I know that I'm going to be able to still get bites of turkey meat, as well as once I get to the dead center, have some of that gooey macaroni and cheese as well. From there, I'm gonna grab my baking sheet just so it's ready. And I'm gonna take my bowl of breadcrumbs here, and we're gonna roll it around in the breadcrumbs. Now this is just gonna add a little bit of texture and maybe a little bit of a flavor to it as well. What you can do with your breadcrumbs is you can either make them at home, maybe by crushing up some crackers, some bread, or whatever else you want that's kind of got that starchy texture to it. Again, just rolling, so this is gonna be more of a texture thing. Take the ball, place it on top of my baking sheet here. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna probably be able to make at least a good 12 of these to put them on the baking sheet. Another thing you can do to make your meatballs is you can even sear them beforehand on a pan and then put them in the oven to help keep that moisture in, or you can even deep fry these as well. We're gonna pop them in the oven at about 350 for roughly about 20 to 25 minutes, just keeping an eye on them. You may see a little bit of cheese oozing out. It's gonna be fine. So I'm gonna keep rolling these, pop them in the oven, and we'll be back to show you what's going on with them. All right, we just pulled our meatballs out of the oven, and we are gonna see how these are. Now, like I said before, we did have some macaroni and cheese come oozing out of these meatballs, so not to worry, there's still some inside. Whew, I'm really excited about this. Huge macaroni and cheese fan. See that nice cheesy center. You get that crunch that I was hoping for from that breadcrumb exterior. Nice cheesy center. The meatball is perfect. It's nice and moist. There's flavor from the onions and a little bit of salt we put in there. Flavors really come through in that meatball from the parsley and sage. It was really, really good. It's just a really good combination of kind of just more holiday flavors. We're really hoping this would be like a deconstruction of a lot of side dishes you get during the holidays. And I think it really comes through in this recipe. So once again, a really good dish, the macaroni and cheese filled turkey meatballs. That's it for this week on Food Deconstructed, everybody. Please subscribe to our channel, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and join our circle on Google+. And from everyone here at Food Deconstructed, please have a happy and safe holidays.